Hello and welcome, everyone. I am here with Donna Alexander. Donna is a channel for many, many things. She is certified as a hypnotherapist. She also does channeling and she's a healer in her own right. So I am going to step out of the way and let Donna take over. But before I do, this is Soulful Conversations with Modern Day Healers, and I'm your host, Liz Naughton. Donna, you are such a cool person. I'm so glad that you are here today. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but if you don't mind, if you'll just introduce the group to who you are and what you do, and how you became not only a channel, but also what created the desire for you to become a clinical hypnotherapist. And with that, I'll turn the stage over to you.
Oh, thank you, Liz. And I'm honored to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And well, I live here in Sedona, Arizona, and I've I've been a channel. I'm going to say pretty much my whole life. I didn't really. I started applying my healing abilities till probably midlife. In my 30s,
Mhm.
and just recently, last two, going on 3 years now. Wow, time's just going through. Um, I was spiritually led, not only to Sedona, into my life's calling as being a channel and a healer, but also spiritually led into becoming, trained in hypnotherapy. And Richard Sutton is well known here in Sedona, at least, a few, years ago when Sedona was becoming more, established spiritually. He was a hypnotist and he's got a lot of material and work out there. His spirit came to me. And not only did his spirit come to me, many years before that, I had no idea where I was being led. Meanwhile, my guardian angels, which we all have at least two of them with us that we're born with throughout our whole life. Um, I've been communicating with them now, not only proactively, for the last 17 years that I've been doing my channeling and healing,
Mhm.
doing readings, psychic readings and mediumship readings, for people that we, they also advised me to take hypnotherapy, and so I did. And it had already been coming to me, in my real life, my life, in the internet life, in real life, my personal experiences. I was getting the signs already, and the the answers, and telling me I was being guided towards hypnotherapy. And then my angels gave me that information, and then Richard Sutton started appearing. And so, anyway, that led me to Hypnotherapy Academy of America in New Mexico, where all of his work was donated to. And I had no idea, of course, until I kind of went down the rabbit hole of where I was being sent. And so that was the school. That was the school. And so I signed up for it, and I think they're it's a very good school. It's prestigious, and they're one of the oldest that have been doing it. Kind of the leaders now, that in the sense of where a lot of the hypnotherapy is being scientifically proven, and they're behind that as well. So I felt I picked, and I was led to probably one of the best schools ever to train hypnotherapists. And so I went ahead and went for the whole thing, because they kind of section it off in packages of what you want to get trained on, because it's a huge commitment of not only your time, your energy, your money. But I was serious about this, so I took the whole thing, 500 hours, for not only clinical hypnotherapy, but medical support clinical hypnotherapy, which is, there's a lot of scientific evidence with that as well. And I also picked up interlife, natal, and past life regression therapy training as well, which I was already doing past life readings as a channel, but I wasn't regressing anybody. And so the bright bulb came off on me. I was like, because during my sessions with my clients as a channel, here, they're paying me to access the information and give it to them. Um, And so what I found with hypnosis was like, oh, you know, because I always thought, you know, wouldn't it be great? Gosh, I wish I'd give you the images I'm getting, because you would, it's like I have to explain what I'm seeing.
Right.
And, you know, sometimes you just want to connect so that they get it. Well, hypnotherapy, you know, with hypnosis, I found that's exactly what I'm able to do. I'm able to get them to channel and
Wow.
and they have to, and they tell me as I'm guiding, you know, what they're seeing. I'm not acting as a channel. So it's like two different, you know, modalities, two different hats, but it's
Right.
all just one person. But I'm, you know, so here now I'm connecting with this person and having them receive the information when they're in a trance. And I love it. They're loving it. And so I think that's a beautiful way for people to connect, you know, with their spiritual side, and, you know, also correct some behaviors, some patterns that are not helping us, that are, you know, holding us back from fulfilling I want to say, the glorious life that we're destined to have, you know, our heaven on earth, that we're all, you know, deserving of. You know, so a lot of us, you know, for a lot of people, you know, earth is a school, and it's very hard for a lot of people. It's pretty scary. A lot of souls, you know, we're kind of brave to decide to come to earth, literally, but we're here to help change it for the better, and help others do the same.
So as a healer, I definitely feel that that's really become our calling, even if we're not realizing that that's what we're on this journey for. But I know for myself, as I get more proficient in different modalities, the wider my net is, where I can communicate with different people. Well, I'm so curious about um, the channeling piece also. You did start, that did start happening for you as a child? Is
Yes,
that right?
yes, yes, it did. I think that's why I think that's why I had, you know, not only the spiritual connection that I did have, because I had no one else. I had no one to talk to. It wasn't a place where it was, you know, I mean, yes, there was some good, you know, I want to focus on the good things of my childhood, but, you know, a lot of it was, you know, terrorizing. And, you know, seeing my dad, you know, in a rage, trying to kill my mother, you know, by choking her,
Wow.
you know, 5 times as I grew up, having to call the police on my dad because he's going to kill my mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you find that did that help create the sensitivity, or do you find that you already had the sensitivity?
You know, I asked myself that question quite a bit. I do believe that it's part of why I'm so sensitive.
Hmm.
But I think I was also probably already sensitive. I'm not sure exactly on that, but I was one of those kids that was very bright. And
Hmm.
but at the same time, you know, I was picked on and bullied, and just the not the doormat, but yeah, kind of people pleasing, you know, just kind of, you know, wanted to be friends with everybody, but, you know, not realizing some people can be really mean and hurtful, you know. And then, you know, not growing up in a place where I knew the difference of, you know, what a healthy, loving relationship is, even though your soul recognizes that because we're from heaven, we know
Right.
this. Even
Right.
babies, they're pure, you know, babies are pure. All babies are pure. I always say it's people that F them up, you know. And so, and that's, you know, that's what that is. So I was seeing, not only did I, you know, was receiving messages from Jesus, in particular. I was also, as a child, I want to say, visited, haunted, and I was scared. I was afraid. I was so afraid. My parents did not understand, and they would force me to go in the dark, you know, where that spirit was, that ghost. And it was a little boy that would appear right by my bedside with a knife and a fork, like a dinner plate and a plate, with a bib, and just looking at me. And I was terrified because I thought he was going to hurt me. But, you know, that's when my angels and Jesus would console me and tell me, just they would calm me down,
Hmm.
me feel it, you know, at peace. And then they would tell me just to go to sleep, that I would wake up fine. And you know, sure enough, I'd wake up, the sunshine streaming into the bedroom, and everything was fine. So I had to live with that. And to this day, I try to find out, you know, who, what, because now that I who I am and what I do, it kind of makes sense. And it's sort of like, well, you know, it was a little boy, hurt in that house before we moved in, so I kind of tried to go through some court records and, who lived, but I couldn't really nail down anything to get answers about that. But that was one of my first experiences, not only the aliens, the visits from angels and Jesus consoling me. And one time I remember I must have been about 11, remember running out of the house because, I always knew when my parents were gonna, it was like every week, I could guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd spend I grew up in my room listening to music, reading. I read tons of books. I guess what you would call not a pterodactyl. I forgot the word, but it's a person that's self-taught. And, Abraham Lincoln is one of them that was self-taught. I'm one
Right.
of those that's self-taught. I've read tons of books. Literally, when I was going to the library, I would be, taking out a whole stack of books worth 2 weeks worth. And one day I came home with the whole stack. My dad saw it for the first time and he didn't comprehend that I could read all that. And he sent me back to the library to get rid of all the books because he didn't think I could read them. And I was heartbroken because I was picking books I wanted to read.
Right.
Kind of funny. But meanwhile, I grew up pretty isolated. And it wasn't until I was in my high school years, junior high school years, that I started focusing on my studies because I did something that I shouldn't have done and I got in trouble. And anyway, I won't even go into that one. But I became more studious, we'll just say that, and focused because that's all the outlet I had and some activities that I did. So I did quite a bit of things. And so that's a bit of I became class president, my junior year. I was winning little awards here and there for, a speech, events that I did, tournaments and things like that, and drama. And, I was pretty advanced. I even, without even trying to know what National Honor Society was, I was invited because of my grades were so high. But my parents never pressured me to. They never got concerned with my studies, my work, nothing. Some parents I thought later were like, wow, they would have been proud of me because they would have encouraged me to go to this college. That my parents did nothing like that. So it was totally different for me. So my life was kind of led in a different path. And I think I kind of think in a way, thank God it was, because I look at where I am now and, seriously, I look at my life and I look at things I've been through. I've been very blessed. And, I continue to do that. And I continue to expand on that and kind of get it more honed in where I'm loving my life. I feel so blessed and I'm very lucky. And I think that all of this has led me to this point where I'm at now. And there's a new chapter beginning in my life as well, where I'm to share my gifts and help, I'm hoping to inspire other people to, share their gifts and, not only bloom and blossom in them, but, part of being able to do that has a lot to do with the healing part of ourselves and, and the acceptance, not only of who we are, but where we've been and where we're going, what do we want? And I want to be able to be a part of that.
And I so agree with that. I think a lot of us come in, healers especially, of all types. So that could even be like our medical, our therapists, and all of those things. I think there's a large portion of us that come in with the wounded healer archetype, so that we do have the knowledge and are able to convey to the people we're working with, hey, you're going to be okay. And it comes from experience as opposed to book knowledge. So it's like that innate experience that we have that we can just generate as far as energy goes into, that's rough, but you're going to be okay. So let's move you through to the other side here. So I think, I think there's more and more of us that are grateful for the backgrounds that we came into this profession with, so that we can pass it on. And also, as we touch those individuals, they touch individuals who touch those individuals. So I think it becomes a part of the collective consciousness where everybody thinks, hey, we're okay. And it just kind of lifts accordingly, which at least I just really think that's the path that we're all on. When you channel for someone, how does that look? Did you, do you go through any kind of specific thing where you relax and just allow the angels to come in? Or is there a specific type of technique you use? Or I'm just curious about that.
Well, no, that's a great question. I've learned, through the years now, when I first found out that I was going to be a channel and a healer, and because I was at a point in my life, back then, what year? 2007. 2008 is when I got, officially into working professionally. I didn't look back after that. I focused on my building my practice. My angels had guided me to, because I'm like, how do I start doing this? My background is, business, corporate stuff. And, even though I've kind of had this ability my whole life, I never embraced it. I never like, oh, I'm going to grow up to be a psychic. And I didn't do that, or whatever, even though that was my passion, and my ability. And so the way that I found it happening, I'll give you an example going back to, when I was the first time that I had a medium, for example, mediumship experience with a departed loved one, was a family member that was close to me. We were close in age, and he was one person. You know how you meet some people, you feel this connection to them. It's the familiarity, the friendly, you have, you just, you love them, and you have a good feeling about them, and it's a good connection, and it's one that's permanent. And it's not, because some people, they say, well, some people are coming into your life, for a day, a week, a month, and whatever it is, and then you have the relationships that come in that are going to be challenges, they're going to be, they're going to be lessons, to help you grow. And then there's some people that you just connect with, and it's a love bond, it's a good connection. So with that cousin, I had a very good connection, that we understood each other, and we enjoyed each other's company. And so I could trust him. I was heartbroken when I later found out, because every now and then when we'd go visit, that family, we'd get to hang out and play. And so I always looked forward to that. And so, but what ended up happening one day, a few years later down the road, I was about 18 years old, and I kind of lost contact with him. My mom was upset and told me that they just had news that he died. He had died. And he was playing on these go-karts, and he had gone down, because they lived out in the country. And so, and he was hit head on and died instantly in his go-kart. And I remember, here we were raised Catholic, and so, it's a big family. And here's the funeral, when I'm with my parents, because I'm still living with my parents. I think I'm like either a senior in high school or a junior. I don't even remember that. But I remember we were late. The church was packed. And, as we go in, you do this holy water, and you go to this, and it's all filled. So we could only sit in the back. And so here we sit. And then, I'm sitting there, and the casket's, way up front. And you can hear everybody sobbing and crying, and I'm looking at him, just thinking about him. And then I see this white light, this orb right above the casket. And in my mind, I'm thinking it's him. And then I'm like, and then I'm telling myself, it's not him. You're imagining things. No, the light, all of a sudden, it goes, and it's moving, it's coming. And I'm like, it's coming. And I'm just in a moment right there, and it's coming towards me. And then I'm like realizing it's him. And I'm, and then I can feel him absorbing me. And it was like, oh my God, it was like bliss. And I started, and I kind of laughed, like, and everybody turned around and looked at me. And I was kind of caught up in the moment, and looked at me like I'm crazy. So you can just imagine that. Well, anyway, that was, I knew he was, anyway, I was happy because he was still alive. He wasn't gone. And so that was my first experience, with that. And yeah. And so I've had many, after that. And, I wasn't working professionally as a channel, it didn't occur to me to do that. And I had a lot of other things that have happened that it just information comes in. But as I started working as a channel professionally, it was very important for me because I was very nervous. What if I get it wrong? What if I get the wrong information? And so they told me to volunteer at a spiritual center in Houston, Texas, where I was living at the time. It's called Centerpoint with Jenny Greer. And, I love her. And so it was very popular back then with metaphysical, a lot of holistic fairs and, expos and psychic fairs, and so I volunteered for a whole year in my angels. And when I was seeing them doing what they were doing, I'm like, I can do that. I do that already.
Yeah.
That's what they were trying to give me, was the confidence and encouragement that I can do this. And my angels, they told me, and I remember them telling me, well, then you can do sessions for free. And I did a lot of sessions for free. And then one day they told me, you can start charging and you can start doing phone sessions. And sure enough, about a week later, I get a phone call. Somebody wants a phone session. And I remember getting on the call and thinking, I'm like, angels, give me information. How is this supposed to work? And I wasn't getting anything. Here's this lady got recommended to me. And I couldn't, I was about to give her money back and say, I'm not connecting. But then I kept seeing this white flower in my mind's eye. And as I kept pleading to them telepathically, give me, what do I tell her? The flower kept getting bigger and bigger.
They're like, hello, hello.
Voice, tell her goodbye, here's your money back, because I'm not, I suck at this, or tell her what I'm seeing. And so I finally just blurted out, all I'm seeing, I said, is this big white flower. It's a daisy. And then she says, oh, and she's on the phone, mind you. And she says, oh, well, that's my baby, my daughter. Her name's Daisy. I'm holding her. So that was just amazing. And everything just came through. So anyway, they've honed my ability. They've trained me. And today, I've even worked at the Center for the New Age, which is huge. They hype, the world famous psychics and such, and they're very popular. And I was fortunate to be, there as well for a few years, in and out and such. And they treat me with high regard, and so I love them too. But meanwhile, I take my work very seriously, of course, because I'm providing the service to clients, and I always want to do the best. So of course, my energy levels are very important for me to be able to give. So I'm dedicated and devoted with the time that I do have to devote to somebody. When I channel, because I'm a channel, whether I'm acting as a medium or a psychic, I tell people we don't cherry pick visions. It's what's given to us, because we get, anyway, that's one that was like just so many experiences. But with this person, being able to channel, we don't cherry pick the visions. It's what's given to us. We can't come in with an expectation. I tell people there can be, there's a detective. He's interviewing, he's talking to 3 different psychics about a case. And I tell people, they're all psychic, but we're not all the same. What this psychic gets is not going to be what this other psychic gets, and it's not going to be what I get. But what we all get is going to be related to the case, and it's going to be prevalent information. It's just that it's different. And so some people have a mindset that, you're supposed to know this, you're supposed to know that, you're supposed to read my mind. And, there's certain connection. Yeah, we can read minds, but we have to have that intent. And there has to be that soul contract connection, to be authentic and honest, because there's some people that are picking it up. And well, it's not that they're not honest and authentic. It's just maybe they've gotten scared. Angels don't appear to us because they don't want to scare us. I doing this professionally, I've asked for them to, touch me, appear to me. And, sure enough, when they all appeared, I got scared, even knowing what I know. And then it's like, I shut it down really quick because I got scared. And that was a few years ago, but and I was already practicing, professionally. So not until we're ready to accept, and receive, they're not going to appear to us like that. So I hope that answers the question. I kind of went in a totally different way, but gives you an idea.
I totally agree with that. And sometimes I think Hollywood does a disservice to what we can actually do. So yeah, I do know that when I work with clients on occasion, I too get those images that will start in my like in my mind's eye, and sometimes actually appear in the room with us. Generally, though, I don't say anything just because it is scary, or at least it would be perceived as being scary if you didn't grow into it. So I know with my own vision, it's taken like decades before I even became comfortable with some of the things that were presented. So, and then you find the right people to help you navigate that. For example, I lived in a house that had a portal in one of the bedrooms. So I would see all of this crazy stuff, and I would just like comment to myself, I am wide awake. Why am I seeing this? And so when I mentioned it to another person who did work behind the veil, she told me the remedy, how to close the door on that, so that I wouldn't keep having these weird visitors, like not only in the hallway, but in my house. It's like, you gotta go.
Yes, that's how I work as well. So I don't like, some people think, well, because you're psychic, you can see everything I do. And some people are afraid of it because they know what they've done that's probably was not okay. And they think you're going to know their secrets. That nobody's perfect. No
Right,
one's
right.
perfect. And so, no, I mean, I don't go around tapping into people to see, and no, I don't, I know that I have to preserve my energy because I do get drained. Once I'm doing a 4 or 5 hour session, I'm wiped out. And sometimes that can wipe me out for the next day. And so
Right.
I have to manage it, especially if I have to, build an income or, support myself, I have to be ready and on point, on target to perform in a sense, um, with the energy. So, but yeah, no, I'm very protective of it in a sense because it's my business, it's my job. So yeah.
I understand that. So what really is your favorite type of modality? It's like, if someone's coming to you, who would be, I don't even think that's the right question, because I know for myself, it's like they're all good and I love them all.
Right.
So as someone comes to you, what is it, the type of things that they would gain the most from seeing you, is probably a better question.
Well, thank you. That's a good question too. I think what they mostly get from me, whether they're channeling clients or hypnotherapy clients, I think they're getting a lot of clarity, you know, not only on their purpose, but their life, where they're at, why they're where they're at, and where they're going, and because we do have a spiritual blueprint that we dictate before we incarnate in a body, are born spiritually, that we're congregating with our angels and deciding what's going to be the best avenue to get rid of some issues, resolve them, heal them, and what's going to be the best way to also leave our lasting imprint, footprint on this earth, to leave it a better place, for others, which now with technology, we all have the capability of doing that. And so,
Right.
um, and so, with this in mind, we pre-plan all of these things, and places, people, not everything goes, the details, can vary, and we can get off course. And so really what I want to do is, because it's happened to me many times, we lose faith in ourselves, we lose faith in God, we lose faith, in humanity, we lose faith, that our purpose, why am I even here? And I want to leave.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And so being able to turn it around where, you're actually leading and developing and creating a blissful life, it's beautiful. And so I'm still on that journey, and it's unfolding, and it's as I'm gaining these tools to navigate how I want my life, I'm like envisioning and getting input as well of what's suggested to me.
Mhm.
I've already noticed that what I'm told spiritually, sometimes we, of course, we have free will, like, no, I want this guy, I really do. And they're like, it's not a good idea. And you're like, please tell me it's a good idea. And they're telling you, no, it's not a good idea, but I'm going to do it anyway because of whatever mindset you're in.
Right.
Learn the hard way that they were right and you needed to listen. But it's part of the journey. It's part of the growth. And so I think it's part of the empowerment at the same time, because a lot of times for a lot of us, we have to learn the hard way in a sense. And the mastery of life, I would believe, would be where you're not having to learn it the hard way anymore, and you're actually enjoying your life purpose, your life on earth. and seeing how far, and wide you can go in not only being that happiness within yourself, but also spreading it so that others can fulfill their joy, here on, and it's all about. And then I find out in heaven, and that's the whole point, all these books that have been written, about the afterlife and this and that. I'm like, it's clear now. I get it. It's pure joy in heaven. And that we're supposed to be able to create that pure joy here on earth. Now, wow, how are we going to do it with all these people at war and fighting? And well, it's coming. All these healers, all these light workers, everyone's going to be touched, because in essence, everybody's a healer and a light worker, if you want to look at it that way.
And I totally agree with that. Well, this has been absolutely fantastic. How can we get a hold of you and continue the conversation, either for you to help me get unstuck in something that I just can't move through, or contact and get better clarity on what my purpose is, or maybe even a past life that's still influencing my health in this life? How do we get a hold of you?
Well, I have a couple of websites. I try to kind of make it easy, but I have too many, and I'm trying to streamline them. But even my name, Donna Alexander, net. I don't have a .com. That's another way. It's just my name. You can Google my name, Donna Alexander Sedona, or just Donna Alexander. But because I have hypnosisblissful.com, I have sedonapsychic.com. And those are all ways to find me. But with the hypnotherapy, I offer a free consultation as well for everybody, and also a free session, hypnosis session, is offered to kind of help understand and get how this works. And that's really about it.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I so appreciate, Donna, you spending time with us today. This has been really fun. I just love them, and I just love the realm. I love this side and also the other side of the veil, and just kind of checking in to see, what's available to us. I want to thank you for your time today, and also for everyone who's listening. If you do feel stuck, please contact Donna and make an appointment and see if she can help you move forward. Until we meet again, this is Soulful Conversations with Modern Day Healers. Please know that you are loved, and namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.